What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Snap on Ego. I hear a slight echo, unless I'm screaming. I think I'm good. We're good. No more echo. Look at that.
Turn my speakers down, so audience will let us know in the comments. So we're good.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. How you been?
I've been great. For those of you who don't know, my name is Brad, otherwise known as Bratsford. This is Chris Boom and Boutte.
Welcome back.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot. Yeah, so we got a few things to kick off first. We have an OTA, we have series drops, and we have Havoc to talk about. But first, I need to ask you a very important question because I saw something today right before we got onto the show here.
Oh.
And it was a post about like...
Neil the Seal?
It was a post about... no... someone posted a TikTok video being like, this is exactly how I've been feeling or whatever, and then all these people in the comments are like, I feel the same. I need to ask you, Chris, as you've gotten older, does like the holidays or the special events, quote unquote special events around, like whether it's birthdays, holidays, Thanksgiving, whatever, right, do they feel less significant to you as you've gotten older?
No, but it's because I'm a father too. You know what I mean? So like that, I think that's a big dividing factor for people. Like I love the holidays. Like I'm one of those guys who had like a pretty rocky childhood. You know what I mean? And then I had my whole addiction and stuff. So now that I've been sober and I have my son and everything, but he's freaking 14 now, going on 15. So you know, whatever. But yeah, I like decorating. My girlfriend and I, we did a little Black Christmas because she's a little metal goth lover. So we got a Black Christmas tree, and she made these like little skulls with like Santa hats and stuff. It's pretty nice. So I get excited. But why do you ask, Brad? Is it losing its magic for you? Do you not believe anymore?
I mean, I don't. I don't believe in Santa anymore. But I saw the post and like all these people were being like, there's something in the air, something that makes you feel like there's something different. Everything feels wrong. Something is coming around the corner. Something that could be catastrophic. Could be something altering the entirety of how we perceive the world. Yes. No. It was a rabbit hole of like, it starts with Christmas feeling weird, and then it ends up with like, that means the apocalypse is coming. So I saw that and I thought it was really funny.
No, for me, like that's one of the reasons I enjoy the holiday season. Like it feels different. It feels like everybody's a little bit nicer, right? Like people can still be jerks, like when you're like out shopping and stuff like that. But I think I noticed it when I used to work in car service because you get the most angry people, and I would notice around the holiday season they would be a little bit nicer, you know. And then I just started noticing it around. So like I enjoy the holidays for that because I think a lot of people are jerks and they're just a little bit nicer. As far as the apocalypse, I'm not sure. But here's where
I did just watch. What?
You need to go find Neil the Seal.
Where do I need to go?
Neil is this, what is he? I don't know if he's a sea lion or what, but he is terrorizing this little Australian town, and he just comes up on the land. I've been posting TikToks. Go watch them. They're on. I just tweeted one out. But he just goes, and he like goes to people's like houses, like their front door. He just like scoots his way up. He messes with the traffic cones. He'll sleep in the middle of the road. And people are like, Neil, what are you doing? And he's just like, ah. And it's fantastic. That will help you get in the holiday spirit, my friend.
You know what else to help you get in the holiday spirit? The movie fucking World whatever. It has oh my god, it's on Netflix. It's been like it
Leave
has
the World Behind.
Mahershala Ali in it.
Yeah, Leave the World Behind.
Yes, it's good. I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it.
It was pretty
good. You like it?
Yeah, we watched it. I think we watched it the day it came out.
Makes me feel really, really Christmassy.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was funny too because Tesla had that massive recall right after that movie came out too, with all the Teslas crashing. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Not funny for people who own Teslas, but you know, Elon and all that. But anyways, I'm sure someone's already screaming in the comments like, they haven't talked about a single Marvel Snap thing yet. Sorry, guys, it's the holidays. We have some topics we want to discuss. All right, but yeah, let's get started.
Boo hoo! We came in right underneath 5 minutes. Look at this. We're talking about the first thing we got. We got Havoc is the new card this week. What you guys think about my boy here? What you think? What you think about Havoc? I tweeted out saying that you're going to eat your words, that Havoc is a bad card because you're kind of shitting on him for the week leading up to Havoc, being like, it's bad. It's a bad card. Bad card. I think on paper, I understand the thought process. Like, you look at it, you're like, I don't want to lose, like, a point of energy each turn. That sucks. Playing him on 2 is just awful because you're stuck at 2. I guess if you're playing a zoo deck without Khazar or anything above 2, you could kind of make it work, I suppose. But that's probably not the way to go. But what I have found, and of course everyone was like, you got to Viper him over, Viper Havoc over, fuck the opponent. And I tried that, and it was okay. Like, I tried it in like an Annihilus kind of junk deck, right? But then I switched to like a Darkhawk bounce deck, and sneaking him under like Goose has fucking been amazing. Play him on turn 5, and then you just have a 2/8 that can solo a lane, like, especially with Goose in front of him. Like, I think he's been a very good card, amazing for bounce decks, particularly because he's a fantastic late game play, and you don't need to draw him early. Sure, if the Viper thing comes up, and we'll talk about that a little bit as well. If the Viper thing does come up and you can do it, sure, by all means, I guess you can if you want. But I found him to be far more successful when I play him and just be like, you have to deal with that, or I just win that lane.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I've been thinking a lot. I don't think, like, I'm totally happy to admit when I'm wrong. I don't think that I'm fully wrong. I don't think he's as bad as I originally thought, but I do think the jury is still out. I think we need to give it a week or two, right? Like, a lot of people right now are experimenting with Havoc, trying Havoc things, or people are still stuck in the blob Thanos meta, you know what I mean? Things like that. And now that, like, people are figuring out you can play Goose with Havoc and get like a really big thing under Goose, But like, it's kind of like, what we always talk about with new cards. Like, is this thing that we're doing better than the other things that we could be doing? And I don't know if that answer is yes.
Right.
Like, a lot of people are just they're doing the new card thing. They're doing the new card thing where a lot of people are tossing Havoc into already good decks, right? We're tossing them into Bounce. Bounce is already pretty legit, right? Like, a lot of people are tossing them in with like Darkhawk, and we're like, okay, that was already pretty legit. I have seen some people coming up with some like creative things. I still want to keep experimenting. Yes, like like I'm definitely seeing what you're talking about. Like, dropping them on turn 5 and having a 2/8 is phenomenal. But like, right now, how many people do you see running Shadow King? Like, if people wanted to be dicks, like, Havoc is dead in 5 seconds. Like, totally gone. You know what I mean? Like, that's all you got to do. The person loses energy. Not only do they lose their energy, but they lose the power that they were getting from Havoc as well. And I don't think anybody's.
So you got to think about when you play him, though.
What do you mean?
Sure, but you got to think about when you play him. If you're playing him in turn 5, you're losing a single energy for turn 6, and for most decks, like a bounce deck that we're talking about, does not give a flying fuck about losing that single energy more often than not, unless you're going all in on the Sarah like Hitmonkey kind of thing, where you really want to play a shitload of cards to get your Hitmonkey pretty large. That's fine, but you got to think about the other thing too. If they want to commit a resource such as Shadow King into Havoc to get rid of that, that's perfectly fine, because what that does is it spreads out their answers. You are now presenting a card in bounce that can solo a lane potentially, or be a threat big enough to where they need to Shadow King it, where then they can't dedicate those resources to the other lanes that you're putting like other powerhouses there anyway, like a Darkhawk, for example. Or if you're doing the other thing with like, Kitty, Angela, that kind of thing, you can do Kitty, Angela, Bishop stuff still with a Havoc deck, grow those in their own independent lanes, or like I've been loving doing just like Medusa mid and then bouncing with Beast and then playing it somewhere else or whatever. We're going back mid again, right? There's a lot of targets that Shadow King can hit, and the idea is putting Goose and Havoc in a lane by themselves and be like, you need to fucking deal with this. I'm gonna grow shit on the other side of the board anyway. So sure, if they commit the Shadow King over there, they're not doing it for Bishop, they're not doing it for Angela, they're not doing it for Kitty, or they're not Shang-Chiing your Darkhawk. They don't have the ability to play blob. Like they're because again, we're playing on turn 5. So if you're going against a blob deck, they can't even play blob that turn and Shadow King because they need to play Shadow King on 6 based on the way the turn's going. Unless they're amazing and calling their shot.
Well, right now you're talking about blob with Shadow King, which I think is a terrible combination. All I'm saying is let's give it a month. Let's give it a 2.
I'm saying a big threat. It's not just blob. I'm just saying a threat on turn 6, right?
Yeah.
A lot of decks want to play big cards on turn 6 at the moment. That's where the meta is right now, and it might continue going that direction.
Like, are you so confident in Havoc that you think somebody, not a whale, not totally free to play, but they should spend their resources on this card? Are you that confident in this card that you would recommend it to people?
If you like the kind of deck that we're proposing, like a bounce deck or something that's going to leverage something like Goose, then sure, yeah, it's 3,000 tokens. Don't use spotlights. If you have spotlights saved up, do not use spotlights unless you don't have Nico, unless you don't have Legion as well, or you're just head over heels in love with these variants. Like if you have the other cards and you don't have Havoc, tokens, 3,000 tokens, really good. He is worth 3,000 tokens the same way. I would say Spider-Ham, even right now, is worth 3,000 tokens. Like, I think he's a good card, but he doesn't go in every deck. So if you like this kind of deck that we're proposing, then Havoc's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, look, what other 2 ways in the game?
Yeah, he's a lot better than I was expecting, but I can foresee it being one of those cards that's like there's like early hype and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, I was wrong on like him being like useless, but I think it's because everybody was talking about like the Viper thing. And yeah, I guess we could talk about that now. And sorry I didn't include you in my tweet, Brad. I know there's like there's a handful of people. But anyways, what we're talking about is before Havoc came out, everybody's like, oh man, just like turn 4, Havoc, Viper, you send them over, right? And like the very first, like I hopped into Conquest mode just because I have an excess of tickets. And I hopped into Conquest mode. I was going for the Viper Havoc play, like Lauren Whatevs. Love her. Amazing. Just like she writes great content over at Marvel Snap Zone and stuff like that. And she like made a thing. I'm like, you're going to have like Havoc and Viper like 33% of the time. Like this was like the thing. And anyways, I go into that Conquest mode and I had it like 3 rounds in a row. Every single time I did it, I'm just like, well, now they have 8 power. And like they're still dropping like Infinity Stones and like whatever over here. And like, yeah, I can't do anything about it. The second I stopped sending Havoc over, I came back from a 10-2 loss in Conquest mode. The second I stopped sending Havoc over. Like I don't think that's the thing. I think I was saying this on Twitter, like, I think it's the same problem as Ronin to Master Mold, right? Like you're giving them something that they benefit from. Sure, it disrupts them a little bit, but they can also benefit from it. So if they're even like half smart, they're gonna like figure out ways to work with what they have because you are giving them power. The same way Sentinels give them power. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So.
Yeah, no, I get that. And so yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the Viper thing is it's a bit overrated. There are times where like it won me a game if I found like okay. Here's the thing. Like the picture you just painted was against the Thanos deck, right? I think that's a horrible deck to do the Viper thing with Havoc over because like they can make use of a lot of their energy. They can play things like Psylocke and Time Stone to like gain something back to be able to still play a 5 or 6 drop anyway, right? Mm-hmm. That's where it's bad. But against certain decks where it's like they want to curve out effectively and especially want to play things that are 5 and 6 costs and don't have any way to cheat those things out, then that can be good. It's a matter of context. But at the end of the day, it's not going to matter too much once we talk about the OTA. So this portion doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah. I think the Viper thing is very situational because yes, like the thought process too is like, okay, now they can't play blob unless they have like a time stone or something like that to like get some energy back. So like, I think it's very situational, but I think the situations are far less than just playing Havoc out on like turn 5 or turn 6. Whatever. But yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. I think if you're like not like a whale, but you're like a dolphin, yeah, go ahead and get Havoc. That's my opinion. Or like Brad said, if you enjoy those decks, like I think that's why I'm enjoying Havoc more than I thought I would too. Is because I love Goose as a card. I think Goose is just one of the best cards out there, but like Goose has been kind of useless since they keep releasing very strong low cost cards. You know what I mean? But now you got Blob,
right.
Goliath, stuff like that people want to get out there, and like Goose totally wrecks their face. So yeah, I'm satisfied with Havoc. I don't regret the purchase, but we're gonna revisit this conversation maybe like late January. See if everybody's still on the Havoc train.
Sure.
So yeah, let's
all right, well, let's move on.
Let's talk about these dropsy dudes.
Yeah, we got series drops. So they finally have drops that are going to be planned for the 9th of January. Yeah, January 9th. That's the idea, that they want to have these come to fruition. There are a grand total of 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 cards getting dropped from Series 5 to Series 4 and from Series 4 to Series 3. They are the ones you see on your screen, and then they're the ones as follows. So let's talk about the ones that go to Series 4 first. We have Howard the Duck, Ghost Spider, Kitty Pryde, Silver Samurai, Echo, the Phoenix Force, Hitmonkey, Lady Deathstrike, and Dakin. Then Series 3, you're getting Master Mold, Spider-Man 2099, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Stature, and Stegron. So, some notable absences, but I can play devil's advocate for this, I suppose. There's Noel, Jeff, and Darkhawk are the ones that come to mind for me personally. In all fairness, though, they've all appeared, especially Darkhawk and Noel, mostly Noel, have appeared in multiple spotlights at this point. So if you wanted those cards, you probably should have gotten them by now. Though I will say, definitely for Nolan Darkhawk, but maybe Jeff I could be a bit more lenient on. He's had 2 spotlight appearances, but he's also Series 5, so it varies. It's not quite as accessible, I suppose. But what do you think? Like, are there any misses that you're wishing they did?
I think the biggest feels bad of this is like Howard's going to Series 4. Like, just send my boy down to Series 3. Let people experiment with him. Like it's criminal how long it's taken for Howard to get a series. Like, Howard should have just been there like, hey, we're not doing any more series drops for a while, but here's a Howard. You know what I mean? That poor guy. But like I get I agree with you. I get what people are saying about like Jeff, Darkhawk, Null. Like, no, those of you who are like newer or don't remember, they stopped the series drops right when Null and Darkhawk were scheduled to drop. And so we still don't have them on the list. But like Brad's saying, there's been plenty of time. And they said we could talk about this stuff because we're able to like ask them questions in the creator chat and everything. And like I saw a lot of like hubbub about this and other cards, and some people were complaining that Nebula isn't on this list as well. But we have like 3 or 4 other season pass cards on here. Mm-hmm. We have like Ghost Spider, Phoenix Force, Hitmonkey, Dakin. Yeah. So anyways, I get it, but like what the devs are talking about though, like they have to balance it around like what they're doing with spotlights. Like it drives me fucking insane how people act like spotlight caches aren't a thing that you can like strategize around. Like if you are listening to this podcast, you're part of the small percentage of people that pays attention. Like pay attention to spotlight caches and be smart about it. I cannot believe we're like, how many months have we been doing spotlight caches? It's got to be like 6 months or something. And I still maybe not 6 months. I don't know. I don't care. I still see people like, oh, I got one key. I'm gonna test my luck. Oh darn, this system sucks. It's like stop being a big old fat dummy. Like just stop it. Like we have data mines and leaks and stuff like that. The only thing that's changed for the spotlights recently has been Firestar. Hopefully we get news about when that card's coming back because it looks awesome. They must be reworking it or something. But yeah, most of these cards cool, good. I'm glad some of you are gonna have access to some more of these cards, but like just be smart about your spotlights. And like people are like, oh, it's easy for you to say as a whale, and it's like, yeah, but like I know plenty of people who are free to play and just being smart. Every single week when the missions renew, like you're getting a bunch of credits and everything, helping you go up, and you get like what is it, like 4.3 keys per month or something like that. Like, so you're guaranteed at least one card that you want. At least one card that you want per month. And that's not even getting into the situations where you pull on your first draw. Yes, there are going to be times where you pull on your last draw, but when you pull on your first draw, now you have 3 more saved up. You pull on your second draw, you have 2 saved up. Eventually, they're going to stockpile. I am terrible at math, but this seems like common sense. That's my rant.
You would think. I mean, for a good example would be like my girlfriend. She is free to play. The only money that's ever been spent on her account is money I've spent on her account to like, you know, gift her like a bundle or whatever that she liked the variant for or something like that, right? But she's never spent a single like dime on the game, and you got to remember, like, it's not just like you're talking about the free to play perspective, right? Which I would say the vast majority, well, maybe not the vast majority, but I would say a very good chunk of the player base is like that in between Dolphin and like free to play range of like little bits and like you'll spend here and there if it's a good deal, right? Like maybe like the Electra bundle that just came out, 1,200 gold. You get 2,000 credits. That's a good deal, and hopefully they buff Electra at some point. Maybe. I wonder if they, because we saw that leak where she was listed as a 2-drop or whatever, in someone's server they're in for like a creator doing like early access to a card, and we haven't gotten any change to Electra. So I'm wondering if they tested out like the 2 destroy a random 2-drop, and they're just like, this is way too good. I feel like that might have been the case.
Wonder. Yeah, I remember seeing that. That'd be fantastic, but. You know, fingers crossed. You never know, because they're always like, oh, well, you know, the early pool cards and the early pool experience and blah, blah, blah. And we're just like, hey, I want to be competitive. You know
okay,
what I mean?
Okay, hold on. Can I just, I'm gonna get on my soapbox real quick. I gotta talk about this. I'm so fucking tired of this. Glenn, if you're listening, and I will tell you this if you come on the show, all right? I wholeheartedly do not give a fuck about the new player experience that much. I care about it in the sense that they should, you know, learn the tools, and I get it. They need to understand like certain things you learn along the way. You don't want to give them too fast, right? But you know what you have the opportunity to do? You can move things around between pools, and you can always alter whenever you want the new player experience. If Electra, we want her to be good, but you're like, I don't want her to be too good for the new player experience, fine. Bump her up to Series 3, and then bump someone like Howard down to Series 1, or something like that. Like, there are cards, like, Crystal's a good example. Crystal should be like a Series 1 or 2 card, in my opinion. Like, it's just...
Wait,
this is your baby's introduction. Yes, she's Series 3.
Oh, that's too bad.
She's the Series 3 card. Like that's like baby's first introduction to card draw in Marvel Snap. There you go, Series 1. Look at that. Like you don't need, or how about this? Maybe just release a new card of a far lesser character straight into Series 1 that everyone just gets right off rip with Elektra's original effect. So you still have that kind of effect in the early pool, but you can make Elektra do something different moving forward. Like. You can, and I know that there's like the model of like it's a business and you want to be able to, you know, curate how people get cards and stuff like that to make sure that they, you know, keep playing and you incentivize them to, you know, grind or whatever. I get it. But come on, like you have the ability to just do these things and it doesn't really cost anything. And what it does cost is it promotes faith in the community or the community's faith in you, I suppose, to be able to do things that they've wanted or asked for or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how many people beg for Captain America buff or Punisher buff?
Well,
which, spoiler, we're getting a Punisher buff, but it's not much.
Here's the problem, and they vocalize this as well. It's that they've put some of the most well-known Marvel characters in the lower pools to get people interested. And when they do that, they're also underpowering them and making them very simplistic cards. So it's like, us, we've been playing so long and we all have like our favorite characters and stuff like that. Like people love the Punisher, right? People love Captain America, and that sick new Captain America came out. And like, I want it really bad, but I refuse to buy a variant for a card that I never play, that I'm like never planning on playing. You know what I mean? So it's like, I see that tricky place that they're in, because they want well-known popular characters in the lower pool. So like here, would you be upset if they introduced a new card that did the kill a random 2 cost, but it wasn't Elektra? They didn't buff Elektra. They introduced kind of like what you said, but the inverse. Not
sure.
Yeah, you'd be fine with that.
Yeah, that's fine. But but then I would still want Elektra to get buffed in some way, shape, or form, because she's an iconic character. Like, look, I get that you need these well-known characters in the lower pools for like player interest or retention, I suppose. But there's got to be a better way. Like, I think a high tide raises all ships, right? We're over a year into Marvel Snap's existence. At a certain point, if someone comes in as a new player, you just kind of gotta like either make the tutorial aspect of it the part that takes up a bit longer than it already does. Like, give them like actual like a longer tutorial period and let them learn in that fashion, but then make the actual cards better. So when they start playing other players, I don't see the problem in raising the power level of Series 1 and 2 when you have the ability to curate it and then also like change other cards around it at the same vein. Like, it's just it's just a weird thing to me. No other card game does this.
Yeah,
None.
see, that's
Marvel
that's
Snap is unique in that
too.
regard.
I don't know how other card games do this, but like the other way I play devil's advocate.
They don't. There is no pool system in other card games. It's just you get the cards and you play. Like, if I want to go play Magic and I'm like, I'm going to go play Standard, I'm going to get my ass fucking slapped around because I'm like, I'm going to play this cool Elves deck. This is going to be fun. I can't wait to... And then they're playing like Shoulder. They're playing fucking like all these like meta cards. They're playing Fable and Mirrorbreaker, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And then I die.
But like, if we're being honest,
just how it is.
Here's what I think about. Here's what I think about Second Dinner's business model. I could be completely wrong, but like we've talked about, anybody who's competitive, you're even consuming content or something, I'd say we're probably less than 10%, maybe even less than 5% of the total player base, right? We know that there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people playing this game, and like a lot of them are not us, right? So then you got to ask yourself, who are these people? And Second Dinner might be focusing on people who come in and they're playing this game for like a month, and they just really do not care about what we have to say about buffing cards, because they want people to have a good new experience, maybe spend a little money, never touch the game again. And that's what's keeping the lights on. You know what I mean? Then you have like the whales and stuff like that who are also assisting with this. I think there's definitely people out there who are barely playing this game and just love collecting all the pretty cosmetics and stuff too. But I just don't think they care, because I just think a ton of their income is coming from new players, you know? That's what I think.
I would love to see data behind like they'll never release it, I know, but like I would kill to be able to see like where the money comes from the most. Because in my mind that feels like a very strange and inefficient business model of just a revolving door of new players that come in and then drop the game. Because like, isn't the goal to like player retention? Yeah. You want them to get through like all of it and strive to complete their collection or whatever. Like, that's what you want. And I suppose, yes, I get it. Captain America in the early pools and stuff like that, there's your hook. Hey, here's Captain America. Isn't that cool? Well, Spider-Man's in pool 3, so you got to work to get to him. But there's a lot of these cool characters along the way. Sure, that's fine. But you can my point is, again, a high tide raises all ships. If you just raise the power level of everything in Series 1, then does that really, like, you don't need to make them complicated. I'm not asking for like a fucking weird new effect of Captain America where he throws his shield and it ping pongs on like different cards and you have to fucking do a quadratic equation. It would be sick. But like, just give him a buff. Just a little buff. Like, okay, cool. You know what I think Captain America should just, like, instead of giving like the cards around him a buff, give the lane a buff. Just Captain America 3/3. This lane gets 4 extra power, like a claw on the lane.
Yeah.
Like
why?
That's
why
the
would that
exact
be
same effect. Because you can play him in a solo now. He can.
Oh! Like you don't need to fill the lane. Got it.
You don't need the supporting cast around him. He can just be like, here's the thing, which I guess is a little less flavorful of Captain America, but I don't give a fuck.
We've gotten way off track. But yeah, we'll see. Glenn has said he may be coming on in the new year, and we could just pressure the hell out of him. But yeah, let us know what you all think about these series drops down below. Now we get into the juicy stuff. We getting juicy?
Yep. OTA, here we go. Starting off with the man, the myth, the legend himself, and the nuisance to all Snap players everywhere. They fucking hate this card. It is Professor X. He is going from a 5/3 down to a 5/1, saying in the reasoning is like, hey, you know, in early pools when you're going Warpath into Professor X then Destroyer, that's cool, that's fun, we like that. But that's not what he does anymore. He's played in Thanos. They're ramping him on turn 4, and they're making things a bit more unfun. We'll see what they do. Do you think this is going to be enough of a nerf to Professor X? Because now, if you just solo Professor X on lane, Jeff can beat him, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll see. I'm very skeptical that this is gonna do a single damn thing. Like the popular deck with Professor X is with Miss Marvel, right? So yeah, you're shaving off a couple of his power, but usually you're getting an extra 5 over there from Miss Marvel. So yeah, I do see like it's interesting though, because going back to Havoc, I have won a decent amount of lockdown matchups just placing Havoc where I think they're going to place Professor X, and my boy just starts gaining power. You know what I mean? So like it's being countered a little bit. You and I have always been in the camp of like, I don't think Professor X is that bad. So maybe we're the wrong people to talk to about this, you know? But like what they say in this explanation, they talk about like the fun factor, right? A lot of people don't have fun with this. Like I found, I don't know what it is. Like we all just have different tastes and like play styles and stuff like that. Like, even though I thought Galactus was always fine and like I'd rather just learn how to play around him and, you know, beat him every now and then, like I found him unfun personally. But I get that certain people have fun doing certain things. I think that Professor X is fine and what he does is fine. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like if you really want to, you can counter him. I understand why people are like, oh, well, you know, now I just can't play my cards and I came to play a card game and da. Listen, I get it. I like playing Bounce. I like playing the most cards possible every single turn, you know? But I don't know. Do you think this is enough? Do you think this is warranted?
So let's look at the idea with Professor X and a Miss Marvel that goes from 8 to 6 in a lane. That's it is significant, I suppose. Where with Jeff, you're looking at 11. Now you're looking at 9. I think this is a little. Okay, do you know why I have an issue with like changing cards that are of this kind of nature? Like people wanted Alioth nerfed into Oblivion, people wanted Galactus nerfed into Oblivion, and things like this. I find it kind of insulting and babying the player base. Yeah. Because like, look, if you're playing against a Thanos list and they go turn 3 Psylocke or turn 3 Time Stone, your brain should be going like, okay, Professor X, where would they play Professor X? And then like, okay, well, if they play Professor X here, I could play this here. Okay, what if they're going for a Blue Marvel? Well, what if they go Professor X and they have Blue Marvel in hand? And I have to figure out what the power output is that. Like, it's a card game, my friend. You can do the math in your head and figure out what the options are. And I get it, it's unfun, but you know why part of it is unfun? Because people don't challenge themselves to be able to just get good. I'm sorry, this is genuinely a skill issue. This is straight up a skill issue.
Yeah,
like I understand why it's unfun, but you're just not trying to actually you can't have effects like this in the game and be like, oh, that's too unfun, we gotta get rid of it. But also have the snap mechanic and the fact that you just dip out for like one cube and not give a shit. Like, that doesn't make... That's why these seem fine to me in my mind. It's like, yeah, you got. Okay, dip.
Yeah.
Dip out.
Leave. Just the least fun thing to me overall in Marvel Snap, and I don't think there's a cure for it, because a lot of people don't want to put in the work or the effort or whatever. The most unfun thing to me is just when the same deck pops up over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Like the Shuri meta, when that was just
That's also a community thing, though.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think Second Dinner can ever fix that. A lot of these nerfs and everything are more psychological than anything, in my opinion. But yeah, like, here's what I don't think people understand about this game. Like, it's just like life in general. It's like, the only thing that's popping to mind is capitalism, right? Like, competition pushes shit out, right? And like, just the way things go, like, if Professor X is one of the most popular decks, all you have to do is popularize its counter decks, right? Decks that are either putting down a lot of power early on, so Professor X doesn't matter, or you're cheating power into another lane like Claws and Miss Marvels and Mr. Fantastic, whatever, Jeff, whatever you got. If people keep losing while playing Professor X, they're going to stop playing Professor X. Like, we can change what comes in and out of the meta, but the problem is people don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of the fun of the game. Like, right. If you really want to figure things out, I will say that we have run into situations recently, though, I think with like Blob and Goliath being 6-cost cards, where one wants you to have priority and one doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't want priority against Blob, but I do want priority against Goliath. And that creates a guessing game. And I will say that it kind of sucks when Marvel Snap comes down to a coin flip. You know what I mean? That's when I'm like, how much skill was involved there? Did you watch the finals of the Conquerors event with Lambie and?
I did not.
Right. Oh, whole finals, whole shebang.
What happened?
Came down to a coin flip. They ran the timer down the whole time. It was like kind of funny, right? They ran the timer all the way down. It was literally a coin flip. Like, I get that people want to be like, oh no, I thought it through. No, it was a coin flip. It was a coin flip. That's all it was. It was a coin flip. That was it. You could have played your play immediately. It was a coin flip. It was where Goliath was playing at the end. That was it. So yeah, I get when stuff like that comes up, but I don't know. I think Professor X was fine, but it sounds like I still don't know if they're going to rework him, is the thing too. So
yeah, from what I understand, it's probably, I mean, I would say based on what we're seeing here, this is a change. What I would argue a drastic change, right? 2 power is 2 power. That can make a huge difference, right? Think of any card in the game, shave off 2 power, and ask yourself if it's still playable, right? For a lot of cards, they just become dog shit. We've seen cards just gain a single power. Like, look at Medusa. She went from being a garbage card as a 2/4, but now being a 2/5, she sees play as she's a pool 1 card, right? Pool 1 or 2, and she sees play in like meta decks now. Like, that's awesome. But if this doesn't work, if Professor X still ends up being whatever they fear, right? Then I would assume a full rework is on the table. Maybe not a full-on Spider-Man-esque rework. Maybe they'll try to keep some semblance of what he does. But I think it's starting to feel like a matter of when, not if.
I almost think that maybe the most they would do is just give it like a magic treatment, right? Like, because the issue is ramping into Professor X, I think. Like playing him on turn 4, so they might be
Yes.
Yeah, like I could see that just being a simple
can
solution
only be played on can't be played until turn 5.
Yeah, or
right?
his
Something
effect
like that.
doesn't
Like,
take place in turn 5. Like if you cheat out a leech, you know what I mean? His effect only works for turn 6. So I could see them doing that. That seems like an easy solution because they've already done it with other cards. But anyways, get this bald guy out of my face. Get him out of my face. What's the next card? these other changes
Werewolf
are doozy.
by Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Werewolf by Night is going from a 3/3 gain +2 when it moves, whatever, blah, 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 to a 4/4. Basically, they're saying that it's similar to a Darkhawk in that sense, and they feel it should also be similar in cost because they want it to have proper setup and not just be too much of a plug and play. This is I'm a spoiler. There's no Loki on this OTA, by the way, if you haven't looked at the patch notes yet or the OTA notes yet, for the people watching. But I'll tell you right now, this is a nerf to Loki, because this card, I think, very reasonably gets cut from Loki decks now. Because now you have a confliction between, I guess you could still keep it and treat that as a pivot point now. Do you go Werewolf or do you go Loki on 4? But it's possible that friction point is just too much and they cut this entirely. I wouldn't be shocked by that. I still think this card's very good. Let's start with that. If you play this on 4, right, and then let's say you play, 3 cards, right, that trigger him between 5 and 6, he's now a 4/12, or 4/6. Yeah, 4/10. He gains 6. Yeah, probably going to be a 4/12 though on average. Still good.
Can I say something real quick, Brad? Do I have your permission?
You have my
permission. I'll take that as a yes. All you people complaining about Loki, you're fucking stupid. All right, all of you. And Brad gave me permission to say that. all of you heard it. If you're complaining about Loki, you're a fucking dum dum. You're a big old fat dum dum, and I don't know how you survive from day to day with how dumb you are. All right, like I just checked the stats too. Loki's popularity is at 5%. Like I don't know what is wrong. Like, and people will just. They will fucking just like Cam Bess is one of them, right? Like that whole like clan of like top 100 rank like people. They're like, oh, nope, Loki's still the best, right? He's a great card. Loki's a fantastic card. He's great, but like the way they talk about this card is like, I don't know, like the stories we hear about Beta Mr. Negative, where he was like a 4/4 or some shit. You know what I mean? Like they talk about Loki like he is just like an easy button game winning card, and it's like, you guys, and like his play rate has just plummeted because we talked about the nerf to America Chavez being like a nerf to Loki, right? Now they're doing this, and the first thing, the first thing people are saying about this is just like about the OTA in general is like, oh, no Loki, and it's just like, who fucking cares? Brad, do you know how many Lokis I faced yesterday playing a shit ton of Havoc? Fucking zero. Like, you guys, like, I don't know, like there needs to be some kind of like psychological condition named after you people who believe Loki is a problem still. Like, calm the hell down. He's a decent card. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I'll shut up, Brad.
I think it's also just the fact that there are plenty of content creators who do still peddle the fact that, they tell the community that Loki's still the best deck or one of the best decks or whatever, which is probably true at the highest level, sure, because it's a deck that requires a great amount of skill to pilot to its most efficient ability. But on average, with a 5% play rate, it's just, fucking... I don't give a shit about Loki. Whenever I see it, I'm kind of like, oh, cool, Loki deck. Like, I don't know. I just don't care. And again, this is a nerf to Loki again. So they've gotten 2 cards not named Loki nerfed recently. And that's fine. Maybe you go back to the Angela Kitty bounce stuff. You're running Falcon and Beast for the most part in these decks now. You're basically playing a bounce version of Loki at this point. So maybe that's the way to go. But if you're cutting Werewolf, then maybe you can trim down on some unnecessary on reveals. Like maybe you don't need Forge in the deck anymore. I don't know. I would like to see how it evolves. But is Werewolf a good card still? Yes.
Are you able to pull up this link I just sent you on Discord? Are you able to put that on the screen over your beautiful slide? I just want to make a point real quick. Let's see if we can get that up there.
I can. Hold on.
Then I'll describe it to our dear listeners.
Yeah, 1 sec. Let me close these. God damn it. I didn't want to open it in this browser because it's not going to show on the screen share, I think.
Dang, Brad.
You know, I apologize. I got to open it in this browser.
We need a better producer on this podcast, I'm telling you.
Look, I'm doing two things at once. And, like, I gotta switch screens. Like, I can't just... I gotta stop it, and I gotta start it. Here we go.
Yeah, stop it. You gotta start it.
You're showing me Havoc.
Okay, cool. It's showing the same stats. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make, like with Loki, is that you guys, like, you got to understand high level players. Like, for example, Lambie is a big Loki lover, right? He just won the Conquerors event. There was decent competition in that. Okay, so in the top left, go to that. Look at that deck on the top left. Wait, up. There you go. So this is the Havoc deck that Lambie posted, and everybody loved it. Lambie's like, hey, I've been having success with this deck. He had like a 60-something% win rate. Look at these stats. These stats are for post-infinite players as well, all right? Like, if you put the same deck in other people's hands, this has the highest play rate. Lambie's deck has the highest play rate. He has a 60-something% win rate, and out of 1,400 games, this thing has a 48.7% win rate. People suck with this deck. Lambie is going to be able to do things with a deck that you cannot do, all right? Like, that is just the reality of the situation. So when we're talking about Loki, like, understand who is saying the thing. Like, if KM Best or if Lambie, like KM Best is like regularly in the top 100, Lambie's like up there fighting for like #1 and shit like that. So like, if you're arguing with us and like in our comment section, well, Lambie said that Loki is the best deck. Yeah, for him, not for you. You're bad. I'm bad. All right, it's okay. But like, just realize when you look at the same decks they're playing, on average, they're going to be worse because other people don't know how to play those decks. All right, that's the point I want to make. I hope it was worth your hassle, Brad. Okay, but like, anytime you see Lambie post a deck like this, especially on the first day with a card, always check the stats. Always check the stats and see if it's like this easy button thing that anybody can pick up and use. Like when he popularized the Silky Smooth deck, completely different situation, right? Like that deck was right. Easy to pilot. You toss down freaking Craven in the middle, you get Silk out there to start bouncing around and stuff, like easy, you know? So just keep that in mind, people. We're here to help. That's all we're doing. You know? Me telling you you're bad, that's the nicest thing I can ever tell you. All right. I just saved you some cubes. So yeah, Loki got nerfed. I actually don't mind this change because I play a lot of bounce and werewolf and bounce and stuff, and turn 3 is sometimes awkward, and I like being forced to play him on 4. I like that. You know what I mean? It does create a little bit of a tension with like Beast, because sometimes on Beast you're playing like a 1 cost and a Beast. You know what I mean? And beforehand you can like. But like, even still, like there would be situations in bounce where it's turn 3, you put down werewolf, but you want to bounce back your 1 cost. So now you got to decide, do I want to play the 1 cost in the lane where I'm going to beast and only have werewolf bounce once? Or do I want to play it somewhere else and not bounce that card back and only have, and then, but have werewolf bounce twice? You know what I mean? So I think this is an interesting change. It nerfed Loki. We'll see how it doesn't bounce. That's what I got.
Still a good card. Still going to be like a 410, 412, and that's above rate. So
Yeah.
Next is Black Widow.
My poor girl.
Already changed again. Going from a 2-1 to a 3-3. This is a huge change. I don't think she's bad, but I do think in Darkhawk decks especially, it's like now, like if you have the option between playing her and Rockslide, you're going to choose Rockslide, and like you lose your option to play her really. And it makes me sad. You mentioned Beast and Balance and the werewolf stuff. Well, fuck you. Fuck players like you for ruining Black Widow as a 2-1. It's your fault.
See,
your fault.
So
that's
they say too, like,
it's because bouncing a Beast.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like here's another thing that doesn't bother me. If somebody disrupts me, I'm like, good play. Good play. If someone's shoving rocks and widow's bites and stuff like that, like there's that frustration, but I like it. I like that frustration. I like that pain. And I like inflicting that pain on the other person. I like taking the other person. This is why I like tech cards, right? I like taking what the other person's trying to do and saying, no, fuck you. You're not going to be able to do the thing that you want to do as easily. So it bums me out. We finally got a Black Widow buff, and now they're doing this. So, yeah, and they did say, like, part of that is, like, getting stuck with multiple widow's bites. Freaking where. I hate this change, and we'll see what happens. And, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I like it. I like Black Widow. I don't know if she's still going to be utilized as much in some of these other decks. Like adding another 3 cost into a bounce, like especially with Werewolf going up 1 energy. Like I don't know if Black Widow's.
Oh yeah, you can't play her in bounce anymore. No, yeah, she's no longer a play in bounce. I think, which is the attention.
Yeah, it might just be like more like Iceman or Spider Ham type plays. You know what I mean?
Right.
Something. So
and like I think she probably still gets. She still gets played in Darkhawk, I'd imagine. In junk decks, probably. I don't think it's too bad to play her on 3 because like you're looking to like Storm on 3 typically anyway. So having just a fallback option of just Black Widow isn't the worst thing. I guess Goblin is the other thing too. So maybe there's a little bit of confliction there. Yeah, man. At least she's a 3-3, I suppose, and she's still good. She's still really good. It's just the problem is like you're fixing one thing with the bounce issue, which I agree is annoying. But it's kind of like when someone plays Black Widow on cloning vats and they just keep doing it, and I'm like, cool, you have a bunch of 2-1s in this lane now, and I win that lane, and I have another big card here. I win. Like,
yeah,
you have to invest a lot of resources. Both the Professor X are just like for fun aspect, but I don't know. Again, do you need to put so much emphasis on that in a game like Marvel Snap when games are so short, where you're just like, go on, play the next one, and like, if you play 10 games, Chris,
and like you just
how many of them are you getting? Yeah, and how often are you going against like decks like Black Widow or especially with Blob now, just dunking on Darkhawk decks, or like Professor X, like. And also, for every game a Professor X gets you have a game where you get the Professor X player and you're like, oh, I want to hit that Miss Marvel mode, but I'm not a dick. Never mind, I'm going to hit it. Because, like, I know who you are. I play almost exclusively Professor X decks, and I usually play him fairly on 5. I'm not some piece of shit playing Thanos with him, although that's really fun, too.
Yeah.
So I know when people like I'll be like, okay, I don't think they're gonna play here, so I'm gonna try Professor X there. Cool. And then they get me by playing like a Darkhawk or something big there, and they just spam fucking Miss Marvel, and I'm like,
yeah,
you got me.
No, like I've always said like Professor X without Daredevil, you know what I mean? Like it is like anxiety inducing for me. You know what I mean? But yeah, I still think Black Widow is the right play in like a Darkhawk centered deck. You know what I mean? Like, because you need backup plans if you're not drawing your cores and rock slides and, you know, whatever. Like, if you have rock slide and Black Widow, you got to make that decision. The good thing, though, is, like, if you're running Zabu, like, rock slide is a turn 6 card that you can play. Black Widow is not. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, if you got to make the decision, you can always go with that. So, yeah, but I finally I randomly pulled the Max Grek variant of Black Widow, and I've been loving it, and now I don't know how much I'll be playing my girl.
Well, here's another girl you're probably not going to be playing anyway. It's Martyr.
This is the only
She's going
card
for
I
a
don't
1-4
have.
to a 1-5.
Yeah.
I have her. She's fine.
Brad,
fine.
what are you doing? She's not fine. When's the last time you played Martyr? When?
A few
When did
days
you play
ago.
Martyr? Yeah? Why are you lying to me?
I
Why are you
played.
lying to me?
I have a zoo deck.
I thought we were friends, and you're just lying to my
I have a zoo
face.
deck. I have a zoo deck. I'll pull up the zoo deck.
Yeah, this is
It's literally called ZOO question mark. That's the name of the deck.
Yeah.
Zoo?
Every time you look at it, you're like, should I play this? And then you don't. No, like
It actually when you're filling up the entire board, it's fine.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this helps. This helps Martyr. What was her original data mine stat line? It was like a 2-6 or something, wasn't it?
2-6.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they said that the reason they changed that prior the 2-6 was just like it. Yeah, or like yeah, she would always win wherever she moved, so it didn't matter. So this might. I mean, look, this is just a 1-point difference off of where they said that 2-6 was too good. 1-5 might be the genuine solid sweet spot for her. I'm cool with it. I think she's fine. I think she was already just okay, and now she's just like, if you're playing a zoo deck, especially when what's her name comes out next month, the one that's a 3/4 that doesn't let 1-drops get destroyed.
Oh yeah,
that's great for this kind of deck too. So, you know.
Yeah, we'll see. She was a card I was waiting for people to prove me wrong. There was a few people who were like, no, Martyr's good. Martyr's good. I have not seen any of those people touch Martyr since like that first week. Like somebody won a tournament with Martyr and everything, and like still nobody played her. So we'll see. This is definitely not enough. Like when they buffed Lady Deathstrike, that pushed me over the edge to get her, even though I never play her anymore. But I don't really play Destroy too much, and plus Destroys can do so many other things now. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think. We'll see. I don't think Martyr's going to see a bunch of play. I know a bunch of people are going to try her on OTA day, but we'll see. Like now,
I think she's perfectly fine.
I'm genuinely surprised right now with the rise of Thanos, and they're not Destroy Thanos decks, the lack of Killmongers out there too. So like, I think at some point people are gonna be like, oh, Killmonger's a thing, and it's bad timing for for a Martyr buff. So we'll see. What's Killmonger's play rate? Let's check that real quick. Like, I honestly don't understand.
Probably
like, I played a deck the
decent.
other day with Killmonger, and it was wrecking people. Now, especially now with Havoc, Killmonger has a 15% win rate. You guys think about that. Loki has a 5% win rate.
15% win rate?
Oh, no, I mean play rate.
You mean play
rate.
rate.
Sorry. Win rate's 51%.
I was like, holy shit. 15% win rate. Great card.
But yeah, Killmonger's being played 3 times as much as Loki, and I never see Killmonger. So do with that what you will. Let me know how that works for you with the Martyr buff. This one, Viper, another bummer. I don't like it.
Yeah, so this was a couple things. So they're changing it from a 2-3 to a 3-4. So they say between Annihilus, Selene, and our changes to Luke Cage, decks focus on gumming up the enemy side of locations with bad cards have received a lot of new tools, and as the deck gains options, shifting around existing pieces to see where they play patterns could change as a goal of theirs. They've done this before. Rockslide was literally a part of that. Like they also wanted to shift around like that for both balancing reasons and just because like they felt like it made sense. So this is cool, I guess, in that regard as a 3-4 to move stuff over. My issue is it ruins the curve of certain stuff a little bit, but I'll get to that in a second, I suppose. The other reason is their motivation for this change is largely an abundance of caution around Havoc. They said themselves they've tested it internally, albeit it's a bit older decks, and some stuff don't exist anymore or aren't as prevalent, and they're like, we're not impressed. But because they're going to be on a decent break between now and the holidays for the next patch, so they're not going to be in the office. They don't want to run the risk of Havoc and Viper just being like something that breaks the meta that they didn't foresee, and then they can't fix it until January, right? That's going to fucking suck. So there's like, okay, well, we're going to do this in addition to that. We don't think it's going to be good, but we're just making sure it's not.
Yeah,
and also, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny putting it like that. It's like parents like putting up security cameras inside the home just to watch the kids while they're gone. It's like, hey, just in case shit gets out of control. But yeah, they're like, hey, we don't think, but we just want to be cautious. But I'm glad internally too they realized like the Viper Havoc thing wasn't really a thing. And like I understand this, and like you were talking about the messes up the curve. Like I love me a turn 3 hood into Viper. I love it. Makes me happy. It's one of my happy things that I like doing, you know? So yeah, we'll see. But like, I get what they're saying with, you have like more tools. Celine Celine's going to be good with Annihilus, but Celine, for those of you who don't know, she afflicts your lowest power card with -2 or -3.
3.
And she's a 1/-1. So yeah, correct. So like you can flip Celine over if you're running like one of your like goblins or something. That's going to be even more powerful, whatever. So yeah, Celine can do some stuff, but I don't know. I hope when they get back and they realize whatever, Viper can go back, because I just think that archetype needs its enablers. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be too much. Like just going to destroy. Like destroy is just the archetype with just the most things you could do. Not one of the best, but I think it's important for other archetypes to have like their enablers. You know what I mean?
How would you feel if she was like a mini Annihilus at a higher cost? Maybe 3 is too low, but what if she was like a 4 cost and just said, send everything on this side to your opponent's side. Those that can't move get destroyed. Like for the lane, like specifically like for the lane. Yeah, just the single lane, like a single lane Annihilus.
Yeah, I would like that. I'd be good with that, because that'd be great. Like, if you're doing like a hood and a sentry, and you play both your hood on the right and then sentry somewhere else, and you can flip both of them over. I think that'd be dope. I'd take that at a 4 cost. Toss Zabu in there, and Zabu helps her and sentry. Maybe they think that's too busted, but whatever.
I mean, Annihilus already does it on the global scale as a 5 cost, so
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Now that you bring that up, like Viper flips a random card. How many times have you been in a situation where you're just like praying that she flips the right card? Because like Central Park popped up and you get a fucking squirrel or whatever. So yes. I think she was fine because there's that randomness there as well.
Yeah, I would kind of like to see. Okay, with this change to a 3/4, I wish they also just changed her text a little bit. That said, on reveal, just send over the lowest power card on this side to the bonus side. Like, give me like actual like a target.
Yeah, exactly. Because it does have that randomness. Because there are some situations where you pull like Viper late and you're just like, I need to risk this to win the game. Like I have to at least try and hope for that 1 and 2, or sometimes even 1 and 3 chance. So I don't know. Maybe they'll the way they word this though, it sounds like she might get reverted. So we'll see.
They did say it's an experiment, so. I though, now that I think about it, I would love to see a 3/4 just like this. Just says on reveal, move the lowest powered card on your side, or the lowest powered card on this side, switches sides. Like that's it. That sounds awesome.
Make it happen.
All right, next we have Ronan the Accuser going from a 5/3 to a 5/5. I love this.
Why am I looking at a pixel variant of Ronan?
Why not? There's always got to be a pixel thrown in here somewhere.
It looks like a fucking.
It's a good one. Look at that hammer.
All right, but hey, this is time for celebration.
It's cool.
We got a buff.
He's good.
We got a buff. It happened.
I think he's happened. Okay. I've been playing a lot of Ronan lately, and part of it was because I've been waiting to get that stupid Iceman from the ultimate variant with the Gala one. I got it. It's fucking awesome, and he's great in a Ronan deck. And I think Ronan's been really cool. Like I've been winning a lot of games with it. I'm like, I've been kind of figuring out the play power of the deck. Master Mold's just kind of like good enough, I suppose, in some instances as just like a late turn kind of card or whatever, just to buff him. That classic line of turn, because also I'm playing Miss Marvel. So Miss Marvel on 4, Ronan on 5, and then Mystique Maximus on 6 has always been it felt really good pretty much every time. Now, with him being a 5/5, all that just gets even better. In addition to, we have to lump these together. His buddy Maximus is getting he's getting buffed to a 2/6.
Maximus
2/6 from a 3/7 to a 2/6. I will say this is awkward because, again, I just said that great line was like Miss Marvel 4, Ronan 5, Mystique Maximus 6. Well, now you can still do Mystique Maximus, but there's an extra energy left over. So, like, are you just going to play like the Iceman you drew late? As like, I guess that's fine, but it's a little weird. I wish Master Mold was a 1 cost now.
You know what? You know what card you play, which may or may not work. But no, I'm excited about this. But you could play like Titania, right? Just a 1/5, like just get a really powerful like 1 cost in there. But I don't know,
Martyr.
like, because if you have priority, like then your Titania gets a little like wonky on turn 6. But I like it. I like having that extra energy to mess around with. But yeah, like you're saying, like the Iceman or whatever. Like there's a lot of like card like 1 cost that you want to play early. So. I don't know, but I think it's overall a good thing. Like having an extra energy to do something is better than not, And worst case, Brad, here's the good news. If you really want to, you could just play Maximus and Mystique on turn 6. Nobody's forcing you to play that extra energy.
I know.
Hell, play Sunspot.
No, you're right, but like it bothers me. Sure, I guess, but then.
You get OCD about your energy efficiency.
You curve out really efficiently with this deck. So typically I'll play like Iceman or Pig or Ham on 1. Mm-hmm. Turn 2 you play either Master Mold or Baron Mordo, right? Or even sometimes Jeff, I guess if you're playing Jeff. Turn 3 is going to be like Cosmo. Yeah, pretty much usually Cosmo, or you can do Maximus early if you really wanted to on 3. Turn 4 is like a Miss Marvel play. Turn 5 is Ronan. Turn 6 you try to do Mystique, whatever. Like there's a lot of really good curving out, or even turn 5s you don't have Ronan. Also 4 can be Iron Lad as well because you can hit other stuff. Turn 5 there are plenty of times I'll do like what?
Let me go through a list of 1 drops that I think would be decent with this. Ant-Man, Forge, right? Forge, you could do Mystique, Forge, Maximus, get him up to a 2/8, right? You also have, I guess, I don't know if you want to use Ghost Spider, but what else is there? We got,
how many 1-drops can you really run? Because like if you already want to run, I think Iceman and Pig are like necessities in the list. Genuinely, I think you need to run them because you need that disruption. So that's 2 cards right there as your 1 cost. Then your 2 costs are going to be like Master Mold, Baron Mordo. Okay, now you have 4 cards. 3 costs is going to be like what? Crystal and Cosmo as like protection. Then you have Miss Marvel, Iron Lad. Then you have Maximus, Mystique. Am I blanking? I'm trying to think. I'm missing cards. I'm trying to think of my list, and like I know my list has been really fucking tight and really hard to change certain stuff. I'll pull it up in a second, but I don't know. Like I maybe you can. Maybe Martyr can be played in this list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Genuinely, that might be okay. She doesn't move like Titania, at least not in that sense, I suppose. And again, you present a decent amount of power everywhere, so maybe you don't need to worry about whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just the math bothers me. I think
this is gonna be good, but I just I hate to be a pessimist I don't know if this buff to the Ronin deck is going to be enough, right? So I'm telling you that Master Mold play, like,
Sure.
it's just a killer. Like, just them having a 2/3 that they can just keep playing over and over. Like, Master Mold needs a rework.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Chris. Like I said, I've been playing a lot of Ronin. Like, I mean a fucking lot of it. Do you know how
Like
often?
an unhealthy amount?
Do you know how often? Yeah, an unhealthy amount for the last like 2 weeks, because ever since I hit Infinite. Do you know how often when I play Master Mode on 2 or early, in general, do you know how often my opponents actually play the Sentinels? It's so far less often than you would think. It's like almost never. Genuinely almost never. Like, it's baffling to me. Like, they're just, I'm giving them.
They're just tossing them out, just constantly. Let's see. Are they?
Right, well, I mean,
do we have Master Mold coming up in a spotlight? No, they dropped him to Series 3. But, like, if he's coming up in a spotlight, I would be curious if they're thinking about a rework. No, they don't even put Series 3 in spotlights.
I wouldn't want. Again, I don't think you should rework him. They don't.
We had that whole episode where we talked about reworking
so there's a spotlight that has stature. Yeah. I don't think he needs a full rework. I just think he needs like a slight, alteration, like the get a +1 buff from each Sentinel your opponent has or whatever.
Yeah.
Just so he can stand on his own legs. Like,
yeah, something
also,
like that.
or just make him a 2/3 or a 2/4. Make him a 2/4. At least make him better than the fucking Sentinels.
Yeah.
He controls them.
Enjoy that.
Like,
yeah, exactly. Makes no sense. No sense. Flavorless. But yeah, I'm gonna.
Outside of Ronin, Maximus is probably looking, decent in other decks in general. Just as a 2/6, he's the only of his kind now, being a 2/6. If they were so afraid of Martyr being of that, power level, what's drawing some cards. Also, Cosmo's a thing. And, I already loved him in Sarah Control. I love him even more in Sarah Control because a 1/6 on turn 6 where you don't give a fuck about them drawing a card. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
I wonder if there's anything you could do with like a Moon Girl with 0 and some of these cards, right? Like, think about that. Like,
why even,
like on turn
0?
3, you can have 9 power, right? Just 0 and Maximus. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now, like, if you doubled that up on turn 6, you could drop 18 power across the board. Like, that's kind of crazy. If you have 2 zeros and 2 Maximus, that's 6 energy right there, and just.
And you can still do the Moon Girl She-Hulk thing too. So you can just let's say you play Sunspot on 1, turn 2 whatever, turn 3 whatever, Moon Girl on 4. And then you just pass on 5. Then you have 2 She-Hulks at 1, and then 2 Maximus. That's 4 energy right there. And then you can still play 2 Martyrs, 2 Titanias, whatever else you want to do.
Jesus.
So
maybe that's the play.
And you're floating with the Sunspot too.
Yeah. Get some armor up in there. I like it. We just cooked. We cooked. All right, what's next?
It's Gladiator. So
what's going on with Gladiator? 3/8.
He's a 3/8. That's it.
I don't think he needed it. I don't think he needed it. But whatever. Like, I don't know.
Mean,
like,
wasn't that what he was originally?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he was definitely stronger. But yeah, the times I've played Gladiator, like, I was shocked at how few times it screwed me. You know what I mean? Like, so, I don't know. Maybe because they buffed a few other cards, they felt like, oh, well, we got to buff Gladiator,
Yeah, it's still... I think he is in the same vein as like a Martyr to me, where it's just like he's a fine card. I think there are very few cards in the game that are just like, these are bad. I think the majority of cards in the game are just fine. They're okay. They're good in some instances, bad in others. That's just how a card works. There's very few Miss Marvels in the game, right? There's very few like Darkhawks or Blobs or whatever. Like, but that's good. Like, there needs to be the best cards, and I guess there's a little surprise in a sense that there's no Miss Marvel in this OTA. Would have thought maybe like 4/4 spread 4 would have been the move, but they seem to be fine with her at the moment.
Yeah, we'll see. I wonder if they're waiting to see how the Professor X change does, and see if they need to do that. Here you go. Here, you're all bitching about the early pool cards not getting buffed. There you go. We have Punisher, everybody. He is now a 3/3. You gonna play him?
Yeah.
You're gonna play Punisher now? No.
No. I'm not playing him. No. He's bigger. Sure.
Yeah. So what is he? He's think about that. Like, compare him to the card we were just looking at, right? So he goes up to a maximum of 3/7, right? And you have to rely on your opponent, right? Whereas we have a 3/8, something that just got buffed to a 3/8, where it's like you can play it and it's going to take out a good chunk of cards, like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably still... Again, I think original 3/6 kind of bad Punisher can still win games. Like, I'm not saying that. I want them to be better than they are because they're cool characters. Also, I just find the effect boring. Like, it just gives me that Rorschach, like quote from Watchmen, where he's like, was it Rorschach? Yeah, I think it was. He's like, I'm not trapped here with you, you're trapped here with me, or whatever. Like, that's like the vibe that Punisher gives me with this card. It's like, there's more of them. Wow, oh my God, he could take on all of them. But like, maybe he should be the one. He should be the one that has the professor, not Professor X. I'm sorry, the Captain America buff I was just saying, where he just gets +4 to the lane. Like, to the lane itself. Like, just claw for a single lane.
Yeah, I don't know. Like think about it. If we gave him +2 power for each enemy card here, like, what's that? That's adding 8. So he's a 3/11. He'd be like the strongest 3-cost card. So maybe not. Maybe a 3/1 with +2 or 3/2 with +2 would be better. Like, I just hate that you have to rely on your opponent. Like, that just seems ridiculous to me. Like, maybe
it'd probably have to be a 3/0.
Yeah, like maybe when that new card we were talking about, what's her name, Kyra or whatever, who protects all your 1 costs. If like Zoo becomes popular, maybe Punisher will see some play. I don't know, but like right now Thanos is everywhere and you don't see people playing Punisher. Like, I don't know.
Right. I think he needs a full rework at this point. It's just the effect never felt like Punisher to me. It never felt like something. It just feels bad. It just feels like a bad effect in general.
Like, Punisher is so bad that I don't even think I played him that much in Pool 1 and Pool 2. Like, I don't think I ever used him that often. Like, I probably have barely any boosters for that card. So we'll see what they do.
What is the card you have the most boosters for?
What's the who?
The card you have the most boosters for.
Oh, card. What was I just looking at? I know I have a bunch of like Zabu boosters. I don't know. Maybe Darkhawk. I have 1,000. Let's see. Wow. Bishop. I got 1,100.
How do you have all these boosters? How are you not just constantly like spending them on like splitting these cards that you play a lot?
Because I have like crackles and stuff like that. Yeah, Zabu, I have 2,200.
Dude, the most I have for any card is 700 something. That's on Namor.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah,
like, I have a decent amount of crackles.
But I also have like literally 20 something splits of Darkhawk, so I think I've accumulated thousands of boosters for Darkhawk over the course of time. But I kept going. But,
yeah,
and that was it. That's the thing.
Yeah, Zabu's gotta be the most. Gotta be the most. There's some other cards. I wish you could transfer boosters. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else on here. Yeah, there was that program. Somebody made like a Python script that can like go through and check like all your boosters and splits and stuff like that. Forgot where that was. Somebody posted like months ago. Oh, here's Punisher. Let's see. I have 460 boosters for Punisher, but I wonder how many of those have just been like collection track or random boosters from like the metal shop.
Did you buy the bundle that came with his variant?
No, earlier in this episode,
I did. That came with 300 something.
I said I refuse to buy cosmetics for cards I never play. so sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
but like I think that bundle had good like value to it. That's why people got it.
Oh, did it? Oh, I just looked at it. I was like, no.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was. I can't remember what variant it was. But I have the Noir variant, which I love that variant.
Oh yeah.
I guess
you know what? I have
finally play it.
I have a surprising amount. Not really. I have 1,400 boosters for Iron Man, but I have not liked any of the Iron Man variants. But now I finally have the Midnight Suns one, which I kind of like. So maybe that. Ooh, Killmonger. I have 2,300 boosters, so that's more than Zabu.
Just sort it.
Sorted by what?
It sorts by upgradable. If you sort by upgradable, it puts most boosters at the top now.
Wait, hold on. Wait, there's an upgradable one? Get out of here.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm like, how are you struggling to find this? Just fucking sort it, my guy.
Let me scroll through my whole thing. Okay, hold on. Let me reverse this. Wait, that didn't work. I just did upgradable, and it put Black Bolt at the top. I only have 600 for him. What am I doing wrong? Holy shit, Shang-Chi, I have 3,800 boosters. Whoa.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
So was that one
That's
the
weird.
most?
It put Black Bolt and Colleen Wing. I don't know if you can see it on my phone. Put Black Bolt and Colleen Wing, and then it started sorting by boosters. Isn't that weird?
Weird.
Yeah. Hood, I have 3,000. Chavez, 2,500. So yeah. So it looks like Shang-Chi is winning here. 3,800 boosters. Hot diggity damn. But look, like I have like a little gold guy. No crackles yet, but you know, we'll get there. We'll get there, baby.
I got the Phoenix Force variant crackled, so I was like, oh, we're good. Gold back, purple crackle. That's like my most common crackle, by the way, is gold back, purple crackle.
That's very weird.
It's weird.
Very weird.
I have like 4 of them.
Awesome. Very cool. Let's wrap this thing up.
Well, that was it. We did it. All right. We love you and appreciate you. You guys are the best. Let us know what you think about the OTA. Also, we apologize about, I suppose, the weird delay that's going on with Riverside at the moment, where like I know like I speak or Chris speaks and it takes like 4 seconds for us to hear on the other end. I don't know why it's doing that today, but it's happened a few times. And we apologize, and we hope it doesn't affect your viewing experience. But if you're sticking around this far to hear me ramble about this aspect and apologize in the first place, it probably didn't affect it enough anyway. So for that, we thank you and appreciate you. And as my pastor always said, let our faces shine on you and be gracious to you, and may we look you on, and may we look upon you in favor and give you our peace as you give us your thanks. Amen. Bye-bye. We'll see you next time.
Peace.